Yo, what is up, everybody? Y'all wanted to talk to you guys about comparison. And I was having a discussion with somebody and it came across and I was like, yo, like, why do we feel like we have to like constantly like work? Like every single second of the day we have to work. And, as we were talking, we came to one of the conclusions is like, well, a lot of people, they want to make it because they're comparing to each other. Like we look at some of these young rappers, it's like, they like 25 and they got all this stuff. So we're comparing to the now. And I was telling the person like, yo, why aren't we comparing to the later? You see what I'm saying? Like, it's easy to say like, yo, this person, they got this, they got that. They got all this stuff right now. You know what I mean? But what happens is we fail to realize that 10 years from now, they could have nothing. And then our conversation going to be different, right? Then we're going to be saying like, yo, like how they broke? Like they had all this stuff. Oh, well, I'm going to go on with my life because you stay consistent with your life. But, like I said, mainly we were talking about like, why does society make you feel like you have to work 80 hours a day? You like they want you to constantly working. And some of these people, some of these celebrities, these superstars, whoever they are, these very successful people, right? What they don't tell you is that they're not grinding 24 hours out of the day. They set their life up. They have things like, yo, I got to do this part of the day. I got to do that. The reality of it is some of them have families. They have wives. So they're not working 23 hours a day. What they're doing is they're setting a schedule up so they can spend time with their wife, spend time with their kids, spend time with themselves, spend time with their business, spend time with their finances, spiritual, everything. They have times for that. But they will make it seem like, yo, I'm always working. If you watch these interviews with some of these celebrities, I'm working every day. I'm working all day. I'm working. It's always work. They not telling you that, I think you got somebody like Jim Carrey will kind of break it down and will let you know like, yo, man, break stuff down. Like, you if your mental not right, your physical ain't gonna be right. It's okay to take time to yourself. Like, stop feeling bad when you take a day off. Because when you take a day off, you literally taking a day for yourself. So stop feeling bad when you're taking a day to love yourself. But, going back to the comparison thing, I felt like it was a verse that T.I. said or a lyric that T.I. said some years ago that really hit me hard. And I forget what song it's from, but he was like, yo, life's about who make it, not who make it the fastest. Drive slow. And it really hit me because a lot of times we're in a race with somebody who doesn't even know we're racing them. We got to hurry up and make it, right? Because I'm in a race to prove to the next whoever that I can be there, I can be on their level right now, instead of just being on your level. So when it comes to competition, I'm in competition with me. Everything that I do, I want to make sure it has longevity. If I'm, writing a book, I want to make sure my book has longevity. I want to make sure that my book 10 years from now is still relevant and not something that I just put out just to say I got a book. Even with these videos, I want to make sure my videos are relevant 10 years from now. So when somebody goes back, they can say like, yo, that was like some truth. This person was spitting. And I listened to like Gary Vee and he was talking about like when he first started like tweeting and stuff like that. And he was like, yo, if you look back, like, I forget how many years he said, but he was like, if you look back, like when I first started tweeting, he said, I would tweet like, I think 2-3 times a day. And he said, I was lucky if I got like one heart and one retweet. But he says, looking at him now, people follow him every day. It's a lot of retweets. He got a lot of like followers and stuff like that. So he allowed himself to play the long game. He was in it for the process. He's in it to win, but he fell in love with the process, which is what I'm in love with now. I wasn't always in love with the process. And when you fall in love with the process, right, you neglect who else is on the road with you. I'm not worried about who's to the right of me, who's to the left of me, because I'm in love with the process. I'm in love with who I'm becoming. I'm in love with what I'm becoming. And when you do that, you'll start to focus on things that have longevity. All your products will last 10, 15 years from now. And I think in my opinion, that's the goal for me. I'm not sure if it is for you, but the goal for me is I want everything that I'm doing to be relevant later on. It's cool if it's relevant now, it's great. But if it's not relevant, a decade from now, I'm a little concerned. And everything I do won't have relevance a decade from now. But I want my work. That's when I put into, like, when I do these videos, anything I do, I want it to have that a decade from now. Like, will people still be able to say, I feel where homeboy coming from, man? That was deep. So, before we start, like, before we get into this comparing thing, you know, whenever you find yourself comparing, ask yourself, are you comparing yourself with their now, or are you comparing yourself with their later? That's something I've seen on all over social media. It was like, don't compare your chapter 1 to somebody's chapter 21. You see what I'm saying? So, you know, if we look at Jeff Bezos or whatnot, like, he was in it for the long run. Even if you see, like, Amazon ain't going nowhere. You know, Microsoft ain't going nowhere. These big companies ain't going nowhere. You know, they were in competition with themselves. That's what it was. So if you're going to compare, which, you know, we shouldn't compare, but if we're going to compare, let's make sure we're comparing with the later and not with the now, because everything can look good right now. When you got the diamond watches on and you got the gold teeth, whatever you into, when you got all that stuff and you shining and you got the Benz and the Bentley and the Ferraris, that all looks good now. But we all see those shows when people go broke and they lost everything. And then it's like, yo, that's a shame. Like, how? Well, you know what I mean? Maybe they weren't handling it right, or whatever the case may be. But before you compare yourself to the now, start comparing yourself to the later. Like, yo, what is my stuff gonna look like later? And when you do that, I guarantee you're gonna start focusing on things of longevity. You're gonna start focusing on things that will be around 10, 20 years from now, that will still have the same power and influence that it had when it first dropped. So I want to thank you guys for listening. Hope you guys are being safe out there, staying warm if you're in the northern areas. Hope you guys are enjoying the warm weather if you're, you know, wherever you're at, all around the world. Thank you for tuning in. If it was for you, let me get a thumbs up, a bell, and hit the subscribe button. Can't wait to see you guys later. Have a good one.